So let's have a look at the GrainSense flow analyzer. So at the top here we have the dosing unit, which contains an auger, and here's the tube that goes down into our sensor, which includes the camera here in the middle. And here at the end of this dosing unit you see there's another tube that goes on, and that's just to make sure that we don't overflow the system here. So that's a bypass tube going here. So we also have back in behind the sensor here, we call it the gateway. So that's a connection for the data that's collected here back into the cloud, so then we can further process that information. So the GrainSense flow analyzer is meant to be installed in mainly two different situations, one being the combine harvester and the other being grain facilities. So in places where grain is moved around, so at a grain elevator or at a producer's in their own facilities, in their own yards, or where you have a grain dryer. So those are the two main areas where the GrainSense flow has a place to be installed. So the GrainSense flow, currently we have two grains that it measures parameters for, and those being wheat and barley. And the two main parameters that we're looking at currently is protein and moisture. So the power source here, you can see this is the motor that runs the auger here. And so this is electric, so the power source can be one 10 volt and two 30 volt as well. And so now we'll start here, we'll take a measurement. So here's the interface, very user friendly. So here we'll just have a look at the settings. So here you can set up the internet. So you can either have Wi-Fi as the source or else SIM or satellite. And here you can select the language, so it's set up for English, but we have a number of other languages that we support as well. So here we can start taking the measurements. And so here it's set up for wheat, and that's what we have in the system currently. So right now it's showing, you can take the measurement at different intervals. So right now it's set up to take test every 5 seconds. So you can just click here, and I'll change that to 1 second in between tests, and click OK. And so the camera interval here is showing to be set up for 10 seconds in between. I'll change that to 5 seconds. Click OK. And another thing that we can do here is change the alarm. So for example, when the GrainSense flow analyzer is installed in a dryer setting, this is a perfect application of this, where if you're drying grain, say if it's wheat starting out at 18% moisture and you want to bring it down to dry at 14.5% moisture, you can set the alarm so that it goes off once you have reached a moisture of 14.5%, and then that will help you, so then you're not over drying your grain and spending more. And the same parameters and same options here are included for barley as well. So we'll save this, and now I'll put the system to go. So now it's just sending the settings. So on the top here it's showing the latest protein. It's actually an average of the last 5 measurements here shown on the left, and then on the right side it's showing the moisture percentages. And on the bottom here, so that's application of the camera. So you have, it's showing the green percentage for the green kernels. So 1.2% is what it's showing for the running average right now, and broken kernels at 0.8%. And here's the clear tube where you can see that it's flowing through the system, where it gets the camera and all the other information recorded. And a little more about the camera here. The GrainSense Flow Analyzer includes an optional camera vision system which is based on state-of-the-art technology using machine learning. With this technology, users will get percentage of green and broken kernels seen by the camera vision system. Using this data from the camera, the user will have more insight on the grain quality, allowing them to make better informed management decisions. So now I can click here to stop the session. And now we can have a look over here at the dashboard to see the measurements that we have done. So if I click here at this one, silo is the name of it. So up at the top here we have protein and moisture. So it shows the minimum of 12.3% on the left and the maximum of 16.2 on the right, and moisture a minimum of 10.3 and a maximum of 11.4%. And then if we look down, there's some charting options that we can use here to further delve into the information that we're getting from the GrainSense Flow Analyzer. So here it's showing the percentage charted along a graph here, and we can also delve further into that information looking at the distribution of the protein. So this helps to get a picture of perhaps a average of the overall protein here when you see it in a distribution perspective. And you can do the same thing here then with the moisture content. And then so this picture here actually is the last picture that was taken during this particular session. So this session here is named Silo, and you can also down in this box here put different notes just to help keep track of whatever operation you have going on at the time. Now let's look at some of the benefits of the GrainSense Flow Analyzer. So in application, when it's installed in a grain handling facility, when you look at moisture, for example, you can be monitoring the moisture levels of the grain while receiving, while blending, as well as when you're shipping the grain. Another application is during the drying of grain. You can monitor that very closely to see the response of the moisture levels in the grain to for example, your temperature of your burner while you're drying, and also to make sure that you're not over drying the grain and thus spending more money on energy that you wouldn't need to. Also then when you look at the protein level that we'll be monitoring with our device, you can use that to blend and maximize the return for the protein level in the grain. And we also have the camera available for the grain handling facilities, and with the camera you'll be able to keep a close monitor on the green percentage as well as the broken kernel percentage of the grain, and we'll be able to monitor that in real time as well. The data from this will be stored and saved where it can be used to analyze the different parameters of the grain later and make storage and different management decisions based on that. Some of the benefits where we see when this device has been installed in a combine harvester is when you look at the data after harvesting of a field, you can do field mapping to see the different areas of the field, how they responded to fertilizer and different moisture and different environmental conditions, and from those maps you should be able to make better decisions in the future as it pertains to, for example, fertilizer application in the following spring. So as you can see, there are many benefits to the installation of the GrainSense flow analyzer, whether it be in a grain handling facility or in a combine harvester. And with that, we'll make some adjustments here and we'll move on to the Q&A session.